All right, since we've only got an hour, I figure we'll just get started. My name's Brandy Duffield. For those of you who have not met me, I am the specialist of partnerships and alumni here at the Accelerator Center. First of all, I wanted to give a big thank you to Artemis Canada for sponsoring today's event. And I will actually pass it over to Christina, who will introduce our speakers today.
Awesome, thank you, Brandy. So thanks everyone for joining today. I'm, along with you, I'm sure, really excited to hear what our speakers have to say. For those of you that don't know Artemis, we are both a proud sponsor of the AC and an executive search firm based in Waterloo and Toronto that works with tech companies to help them scale as they grow their leadership teams. So excited to be joined today by both the Accelerator Center's very own CEO, Jay Krishnan, and CEO and co-founder of ApplyBoard, Martin Basiri. Jay is a globally successful entrepreneur, investor, and an innovation ecosystem builder, and also the CEO of the Accelerator Center. An executive leader with over 20 years of experience, Jay boasts an impressive resume of international success, with experience spanning the venture capital space, entrepreneurship, and product development and management. Jay knows firsthand what it takes to turn a good idea into a great one, and to grow a company from a startup to a globally competitive business. Having been involved in the founding stages of 3 startups himself, he's experienced the full startup lifecycle from failure to success, spanning seeding, raising capital, scaling, and exit, with one company ultimately being acquired by a multinational conglomerate. So welcome, Jay. And Martin, since launching ApplyBoard in 2015 with his brothers, Meti and Masi, Martin has led the company to become the world's largest online platform for international student recruitment, assisting more than 120,000 students with their educational journey to study in Canada, the US, the UK, and Australia. Under Martin's leadership, ApplyBoard was named Canada's fastest growing technology company by Deloitte in 2019 after only 4 years in business, ranking #1 on the Fast 50 list. So without further ado, let's bring both Jay and Martin onto the virtual stage, and over to both of you.
Thank you. Thanks, Christina. And Martin, super excited to have you here. Thank you for your time. I'm sure you have a ton of exciting stuff that keeps you occupied all day and all night and all week. So very happy that you're able to spare some time with us and with the rest of the entrepreneurs. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Fantastic. So for the folks on the listening in, looking in, feel free to dial in by sending us questions on the chat, and we'll try and accommodate as many as possible. I want to kick it off with an extremely fascinating conversation I had with Martin last week. And he very casually touched upon his background, but I was enamored by it. And I would love for you, Martin, to give us a sense of your upbringing and what led you to ApplyBoard and to Canada and doing the wonderful things that you're doing now.
Yeah, for sure. Let me tell you, like, first, like, where everything started. I grew up in a very good family in terms of, like, both of my parents were educators. My dad was teaching in university. My mom was a school principal for K-12. And education was probably, like, most important thing in our home. We were like lower middle class, so money was something that our whole life we were struggling with. But it wasn't like it was only us. It was like I was born right at the last year of the war between Iran and Iraq. Like, it wasn't like I was the only poor kid in the class. Everyone was poor. And it gives like a pretty good feeling, but it builds you up, right? It gives me a very good thing. Worked very hard, got to invention and coding earlier on in my life from when I was like, as much as I remember, but I started to do professional things in high school and coding. and got to electrical engineering undergrad, and done more work, done some entrepreneurship stuff, failed a bunch, succeeded a bunch. And finally, I wanted to study mechatronics, which is like robotic, electrical engineering, mechanical, and software, a combination of everything. And we didn't have a single university back in the time in Iran that offering a program for that. And I was lucky that I found U Waterloo will have a program in the mechanical and mechatronics engineering class. And I applied. Like that process of applying and finding a supervisor stuff took me about 18 months. And it was like, first I wanted to go to US, I couldn't do, I completely gave up. Then I wanted to go to Singapore and Malaysia, I couldn't figure it out. Then the last chance was Canada, and luckily just it happened. I came here, I loved it. I brought my brothers, but because I went through the process, I was able to bring them in a couple of months. And then we started helping their friends, my friends, classmates. And we kind of like doing this at the side where we are here till fast forward. Now I'm graduated from Waterloo for my master's. I'm in the US working as an engineer. I wanted to get back to my roots of entrepreneurship, but I didn't have a single idea. So I quit my job without any idea. By the hope of like, if I burn all of my plan B, something gonna happen in plan A. But I didn't have a plan A. So I said, okay, at least first step, let me quit my job. Then I'll figure it out. Quit my job, 1 month, 2 months, no idea came. I kind of feeling was my whole brain that was like generating ideas and good ideas every single day. It was just like stopped after working a couple of years out of being an entrepreneur and just like work. And that was like, so I just picked up the first thing came. One day I said, you know what? I just run with this one. Let's see. I ran with it. 9 months later, I failed. And now I'm an immigrant. I don't have any money. Remember, I came to Canada with like $6,000. Now it's a couple of years later. I'm burning through my savings, cost my life expense to like $1,000 per month. So I was like, we should do something. Then this time, now both of my brothers also graduated. They're working, and all of us are like on visas, so we don't have like a permanent status yet. And it was hard. And we decided to do ApplyBoard to make an automated system to help, because during the years we learned about the industry a little bit and we knew there is a room. We just didn't know how to do it. So we started ApplyBoard, and it worked well. We applied like first, like we didn't know where to start. Again, like immigrant, you have no idea. Our English wasn't the great, so we applied for Y Combinator, AC JumpStart program, and an incubator in Cleveland, Ohio, where I used to live. All three of them rejected us, including AC, including that incubator in Cleveland and Y Combinator. So as a result, one of my brother for his company had one room in Uptown Waterloo, rented like for 2 months. It was like a $500 per month. We were like a couple of people day and night using it to the maximum level and hoping that no one say, why you guys are so many people in a room that's supposed to be only have one professional in it. And then till we heard about Velocity. So we applied for Velocity. We applied for AC JumpStart through Conestoga College this time. And then we got to AC during the summer, and we got to Velocity. So the second round of applying worked well. And then that summer, again, applied for Y Combinator that we got rejected, unfortunately, again. So we just stayed in Velocity. And then AC sponsored us for our permanent residency. So we became permanent residents through a pilot program. And we are so lucky that that pilot program existed at the time. Now it's a permanent program called Startup Visa.
Yep.
So we got our visa, and then the rest is history. Now the company is over 1,000 people in 25 countries in the world.
That's a spectacular story. The two things that I gained from it were the Singapore, Malaysia, and US's loss, or Canada's gain. So I'm very glad that they rejected you. And I'm also super excited at the fact that we got a second shot at the Basiri brothers and ApplyBoard. So thanks for hustling and staying put. I'm going to come back to this, but there's one story that you mentioned last week, which really touched a nostalgic chord, having been an immigrant myself. I hope you can remember it, but it'll be great for you to mention that here. And that's about shoes, growing up in Iran and how access to shoes. Can you touch upon that?
Yeah, like I think the question you asked is like, what is the disadvantage of being an immigrant?
Right.
And my response was like, it could be advantage, it could be disadvantage. It depends on how you're seeing it. For me, it's advantage because I came from zero. So there is no loss for me. You know, like I remember like time that, you know, I didn't have more than one pair of shoe. And even like, I remember a period of time that even that one pair of shoe wasn't like I had one pair of Adidas or Nike. I had like one pair of like a $1 shoe that like, we were like so poor that we had to like not wear our shoe and just play barefoot when we were doing the sport, because we didn't want our shoe to get bad or get a hole or something in it. So when we go tomorrow to the class, no one laugh at us. And that was the thing. They were like bully you if you were like super poor, but it's okay, you know, it builds you. So in upper thing about like being immigrant, yeah, I normally don't talk about the hardship of the thing because I'm sometimes like too positive, but like you wanted me to like go deep on it. It's hard because think about it. My brothers, my parents, like I had full scholarship from Waterloo. Full scholarship means the money that they were giving me, it was just covering rent. So don't think it was money in the pocket. My brothers were, my parents sold their homes to send my brothers. And we didn't, as an international students, we didn't have almost any money. Mm-hmm. I remember my brothers one time together, they just went and used a $2 coin to get one Coke from a vending machine. And they divided it just to get the experience. I remember the first time they went to Tim Horton and to get one coffee together, because they're twins, right? So my parents have to pay two people. So, yeah, we started from that place, that getting a pop from a vending machine was a luxury. And when we started the company, imagine now with that, we didn't have any money. So the good part was like, if we fail, like it's not you go down, you already started at zero. So you're like a year from now, you go from 0 to 0, nothing changed. That's a big advantage of it. So like it covered your but like your low, like your base case. If you fail, nothing really happened. You know, like you were 0, now you're 0. Like that's a good thing. But the bad thing was like, you don't have anyone. Like it's not like I could have moved back in with my parents and go stay in the basement, or we didn't have any support financially that we can say, oh yeah, let's go do it. And if it doesn't work, we just go back and just stay with parents or find a job or do something network. It was like literally just like at some point, like 3 of us just had like, not me, like they just like had one, like a $300 room and just like hustle day and night. And that's all you have in the whole life. It was like, But the good thing is like all you need is $300 for paying your rent and another $400-500 for two people for pizza and grocery. That's it. That's all you need. So as long as you can get $1,000 per month, that's your life is good to go. And I think that was our advantage that we didn't have. And also, since you're an immigrant, like I didn't have any expectation from my classmates or uncle or teachers. Like no one knew you. Like no one knows us at the time. So no one would have said, oh, look at these guys quit their job. 'Cause I was making pretty good money. I was an engineer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like no one said, oh, look at these guys, they quit their job. You know, the first couple of years, everyone tried to stop you from being an entrepreneur. Instead of they encourage you, everyone trying to tell you why it's not gonna work.
Right.
So I didn't have anyone to tell us. That's the best thing about it. Because if you even fail, you don't have to be ashamed in front of your classmates or anything. Like you're nobody. No one cares about you. So it's like I take it like such a big advantage of starting from zero, because you go from 0 to 0. There is nothing below 0.
Yeah, no, that's amazing perspective. My brother and I, we had this annual spectacle where my parents used to take us to buy shoes. And when you spoke about shoes, it really, I could relate to that. And the other, you spoke about perspective, right? It puts things in perspective. When you're an immigrant, you really come with potentially a suitcase or two. You build from there. But there's something that you spoke about which I really like. And a long time ago, the guy who had mentioned that entrepreneurs who really succeed all of them have one common trait, right? And it's very, very evident in the way you speak. And I would love to hear your thoughts on it. And that trait, I was told, is hunger, right? It's the hunger that'll keep you going mile after mile, day after day, night after night, till that problem gets solved. So how much of hunger is an intrinsic motivator in what you do?
Yeah, like I don't like. Depends on what we define hunger. Like there is something inside me from when I was a kid that I just wanted to do more. I wanted to do something that fundamentally changed people. Like think about it, like the first device like the first invention, not the real invention, the first project that I sold to my classmate, I was like 9 or 10 years old. Mm-hmm. So I always wanted to do that. Or like my brothers, they were like selling like biscuits and things at the school. Like they were always like doing something. So we were always trying to like somehow make additional cent to like have some pocket money, because again, because we were like it wasn't even because of the money. I think it was just because of just the joy of doing something. So that hunger for us is not money. Mm-hmm. It's just like there is something inside that said, if I can do it and I don't do it, shame on me. And that's the most joyful thing about ApplyBoard, that right now the result of our work is students going to university and college, become educator people. Like we are a net positive company for the society. Like higher education win because they get a lot of good students. They get a lot of tuition fee for majority of the students. And students win because they become educator. Canada win because they get a lot of educated immigrant. It's like a win for everything. So every step I go forward is like, wow, now I really can change the world. So if I don't do it, shame on me. So it's just like become, I don't know if you call it hunger or something. It's just like something inside say like, wow, I can't believe I can make this change. So let's do it. Now I want to see if I can make, so there's in the whole world, there's 240 million people that they must be in higher education right now, and they are not. Mm-hmm. So I just want to say, like, if you can make it accessible for every single one of them, 240 million people, it's 1.5 times more than the total number of students globally. So globally, there's about 160 million people in higher education.
Mhm.
So there's another 240 million that they should be in a school that they're not. I want to see if we can like put them in the school as well. Like that's the next big thing. So that's like just thinking that number is the hunger, if you want to call it hunger.
Yeah, no, I love the fact that you're obsessed with solving a problem, which is amazing, right? Because most entrepreneurs, in my head, there are two sets of entrepreneurs, right? And they're both obsessed. The first category, they're obsessed with the problem and they come at it from multiple angles and keep going at it persistently till it gets done. Then there's another breed of entrepreneurs who are, I don't know what the word is, probably a little more blue sky. They're also obsessed, but they're obsessed with what they have, the product, the solution, right? And oftentimes they try to find a problem to solve. Can you throw some light on how you look at it and advice that you have to folks in the other category?
That's a very, very good question. Yeah, we are definitely obsessed about the problem, not the product. So we have no shame of literally just completely redo the product from another angle. All matters is the students at the end of the day, and we solving more and more people. So we really like, and I think that's the right way, and especially if you choose the right problem, right? If you choose a big problem that changed the whole world for good, then you always get energy. It's also good focus, right? As product, like new technologies come. So when you are obsessed about problem, new technology come, you adopt. But if you are obsessed about your product, when new technology come, like it's question everything.
That's true. But that's interesting. So, for the folks who build stuff, let me rephrase that question, right? So oftentimes you have customers who know what they want and they don't get it, or at least the entrepreneur thinks along those lines. And then you have customers who really are happy with what they have. So as an entrepreneur who builds stuff, getting the channel to sales to see the customer to appreciate what you build, how do you reconcile between that? So case in point, something like the second avatar of the iPhone. There didn't BlackBerry existed, but it was a very different smartphone. So all of a sudden you show the world that there's another way to do this. Here it is, it's touchscreen, yada yada yada, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a sense of which is better or which category you fit in?
Oh yeah, perfect. Very good question. It's just a matter of your attitude, because your attitude go to your organization attitude. Like the way that we run is we raise the expectation. So I expect our customer always demand more. I don't expect our customer say, oh, ApplyBoard is perfect. That's actually a bad thing. So we constantly poke ourselves to go and ask and to really find what is the problem and invent on behalf of them. So the voice of customer, that's why you should not get confused by voice of customers versus what the customers need. Sometimes the customer doesn't know what they need and you need to invent for them. Because when it was, let's call it the first V1 of smartphones, maybe the customer wanted a better plastic keyboard. But in reality, what they really wanted, a better interface with the machine, with the phone, which came to be like a no key phone like Apple, right? So for us, because we are obsessed about the problem, and the problem is very, very simple. It's like a clear access to education. That's it. We want everyone to be able to go to university. Everyone who wants to be able to go. So now, stop them? Okay, 1, friction in the process. Okay, now we have to fix it. 2, financial access. Not everyone have money to pay tuition fee. That's the next problem to solve. Right now we are in friction to access. Okay, friction to access. What's the biggest problem? Okay, the biggest problem is discovery, application. Let's go fix these 2 first. So it's like super simple, to be honest. It's like You pick one thing and you just break it down and come down. And then one thing ApplyBoard does very well is like we attack the same problem from different angles.
Got it.
Yeah, like we go from, like for example, application. We don't only go from the look of a student. We say, oh, let's see how can we solve it from the school side maybe. Then let's see how can we solve it from government side maybe. So we don't afraid of like go after, because we are not obsessed about the solution or product. We just want to like solve the problem. So we don't afraid of like go literally just rebuild something that even disrupt the whole company as what we already built and made us successful to this level. And I'm very proud of our team that this mentality is all the way to the company.
Yeah. That brings me to an interesting segue, that of culture, right? It's not often that you see a successful company like yourself have built. But it's even more rare that you see three siblings build a company from scratch and scale it as quickly as you have. Can you talk a little bit about what the life is like for the three of you to be at the top? I'm sure there's a bunch of stories there you'd love to share with us.
Oh my God, that's the most joyful thing, working with my brothers. So let me go back. So my father and my mother, in our home, we had to do everything. So like from as much as I remember my memory, like we always had responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like our weekend were Fridays, right? Like, as I remember, my job was to do some cleaning every single weekend. It wasn't like, oh, because my mom has to do it. No, like, or I remember it was always duty of, we don't have washing machine or something. I mean, like we had washing machine, but not dishwasher. Like, as I remember, it was always duty of kids to wash the dishes. So me and my brothers, we were always doing different things. And my father, like when we were doing like construction or something, it was always on the kids. And some portion of my time, like my parents, they were taking us to their job. And that was very, very helpful. Like, for example, my dad at some point started doing some construction job. And from early days, like I think I was 6 years old, the first time that I did some help with electricity, like doing electric work in a home. And he was like giving me, then I remember I was like in elementary school when he was like, okay, you responsible for this room. And that's why I fell in love with electrical engineering, because like I knew a lot of the concept of it way before I even get to high school. So we always had to do, so we always learn how to do things together, but it was always like dad or mom was the boss and we were just executor, and they were like giving us like, hey, like you need to clean the home. Now we had to like sit down and define who's doing what. We always had our brother dynamic, right? They're twins. So Mehdi and Matthew are twins, which they have a superpower. And I'm the older brother. So from one side, they always listen to me because I'm the older brother. From the other side, when they group, not only me, the entire planet Earth cannot stop them. Like if Mehdi and Matthew want to do something together, the entire planet Earth can't stop them. Like you have no idea what is this twin power. So you gotta just like go away or they crush you. So it's like cool. It's like amazing. Like every day, like every week we hang out. Every single day we meet. It's like we just have each other, right? So we work. The one very, very clear benefit of it was because we trusted each other, everyone picked a piece. And that became the infrastructure in the company. Now, all other leaders that they come, if they show that they can take a piece. And that trust already exists. So, for example, it's not like I go and say, oh, look at our COO doing this. Because there's no gossip. It's like my brother. right? So also the people in the org, they not do that. And when you talk to our leader, they're very, very happy about an org that there is very, very little politics, because like, for example, this director that you report to me, not gonna go, oh, look at the other director, he not follow me, because they know like on top, we are absolutely on the same page. We might be disagree with each other, but we are on the same page of company success. And so it really, really made a very cool dynamic. I'm having fun, and it's fun, you know. It's such a good thing that every day you trust your partners, right?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what? A few years ago, I read this stat and I've written it down here. I don't know if it played a role in you figuring out what you want to do, but it was extremely revealing to me that in Iran, 70% of folks who go through STEM are actually women, which is remarkable. I don't think any other country has a stat that is as boastworthy of that. And the other one, you know, I used to always think that India does a remarkable job of exporting talent, but turns out Iran produces, according to the IMF, the biggest brain drain in the world. 150 to 200,000 top talent go abroad.
Yeah.
And you come from an educator's background, right? The family had educators in the background. Quick question.
My dad was also a study abroad student. My dad came to US to finish his studies, university studies, but he decided to go back to Iran.
Got it.
But we kind of see what happened to him. So when we had a chance to go, we didn't want to like go back. To me, the borders, to be honest, is just a limitation that human being put, and it's only in our head. Like, think about it. Like, look at the border between US and Canada. What does it mean? Like, these are all things that humans did, right? So I know they're saying, oh, people go from this side to that side. For me, it's like we are in a global, and like soon it's gonna be even like not even talking about planet Earth. We also hopefully talk about other planet as well. Like, to me, it doesn't matter where you are from, where you work. All of this is just like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm a human being and I belong to Earth. So Canada is the 5th country I live in. Like, I lived in other countries, and every single one of them I felt home. I never felt like I don't belong to here. I belong to planet Earth. And so if anyone have an objection, they can deal with it themselves. I don't have an objection with anywhere in the world. Like, anywhere I go, say, okay, I'm a human being and I belong to planet Earth. And it's pretty good. Then you only deal with variables, right? Language, currency, law.
Yep.
You know.
Personally, I'm with you. I can think of 140 global leaders who might think dissimilar to the two of us, but I'm with you.
Yeah. It's like it's a lot of time government have to do it because there is law, there is other things, so they have to make these things. Sure. But we as citizens, we don't have to like necessarily think the same way, right? We like wherever jurisdiction we are, we obey the law of that jurisdiction. I'm not saying don't obey the law and say, okay, I gotta make my own law. No, but it's just about the feeling, right? I never feel like, oh, I'm Iranian or Canadian or American. I'm a human being, and I'm belong to planet Earth. Yep. That's how I feel, you know. So it doesn't matter where I'm doing business, whatever. Love the law, tradition, culture of that jurisdiction, I always respect. Yep. But even when I'm in India, I never feel this is India, I'm not belong to here. No, I belong to India. I call myself Indian. I have no problem with that. I'm a Chinese. I'm a Vietnamese. I'm every country. I'm okay to have, you know, to call myself like I'm from Sierra Leone. I lived in Sierra Leone. I loved it. Even there, I didn't feel that I'm not belong to here. Like, oh, cool. I can live here.
You should probably get an exit soon and be at the UN. We would love to have people like you at the UN.
No, I don't want to go to politics now. I think I can be like I think I found the way that I can have impact right now.
Jokes aside, and a question that has often evaded entrepreneurs, it certainly I've struggled with it, right? I'd love to get your thoughts on this. So when you're obsessed with building a product, right? And regardless of what the market says, that path can mean two things. A, that you're incredibly focused and you want to stay the path because the rest of the world don't see it the way you do. And then the other path is doing the same thing, but not learning from your mistakes, because when you're so obsessed with it, you don't realize it's a mistake, right? So for early stage entrepreneurs, that's often a big dilemma, right? Am I doing the right thing? Should I obsessively, compulsively stay the course because nobody gets it? Or should I listen? And you actually, you gave a great example the last time we spoke about hear versus listen. Should I listen to what the world is saying and quickly course correct? How would you treat the two differently?
Yeah, I don't think there is this versus that. It is always a combination. You have to make a lot of a small adjustment. Otherwise, you were forced to make big adjustment. And big adjustment, you may have a chance to make a big adjustment, or you may die in terms of a company to make a big adjustment, right? Sometimes, like, we were always doing it as we are fluid, like if you are water, you kind of like are shapeless. So it's kind of like from one point of view, I want to go connect. I'm here. I want to connect to that ocean over there. So I have to find my way. But from the other side, it's like when you put the water on the ground, it finds its way, go forward. As long as you know the general direction you're going, I think you can be a little like flexible here and there. The problem is when you don't know where you're going, the general direction that you go. And that's very, very dangerous because it can be very, very killing you. So I think that's one of the things that we were pretty good of understanding. And sometimes you also always have to have you always have to have a gut to also test new things, right? If you don't test, you never know if it works or not. But you also have to see, is this test toward the general direction of the company? I always say no one better than entrepreneurs themselves know if it's working or not working, Like no one better than you know. Are you on the right track or not the right track? If you are on the right track, the hardest part is having the gut to when you are not on the right track to change it. Because again, a lot of it comes from society, your employees, your investors, your parents, your kids, your marketing, everything expects you to be something. And that's bad. They frame you to be something. From the other side, you want to be like fluid. You want to be shapeless. You want to do what is right to do. So general directions, I'm very, very in favor of having a laser focus. Like for us, I don't want to do anything else till we are on the same page of getting access. But on the other side is kind of you want to test water out, But you have the ability, you have to have an ability to kill ideas very fast. You don't want to stick to it. Like for example, in ApplyBoard, I have a team in business strategy. Our mission in that team is to get distracted so rest of organization can stay focused. And I can tell you, over 99% of the ideas get shut down in our team. So if tomorrow you said, for every student, I think we should give them a mobile phone. It comes to this team, and we the people in that team that directly work with me, we test it out, decide yes, no. 99% of the time we shut it down. Say no, let's go forward with our current idea.
Right.
Sometimes something good come out of it, but majority of time we just shut it down. But it's good that so the rest of the organization now don't have to get distracted to find out, let me go figure it out if it's a good opportunity or not.
Got it. Which I think to some degree answers what I was just going to ask, which is, how have you as a leader evolved when it comes to management style? Because I reckon it has to evolve.
Yeah, I become more I have more empathy now than I had before. I think I listen more right now. I learned how to give feedback. I used to be super direct. Now I'm still super direct, but I kind of like form how to like change it a little bit. I think I'm more empowering right now that I just want to do it myself because I execute fast. So I kind of always expected other people to execute fast. But now I learned they can execute fast if they don't have all the knowledge that you have. So earlier on, I give them more information so they can execute fast, empower them, give them courage so they don't scare of like failing. Yeah, it's the whole fun part of like having a company because every year you just go to mirror and you just like every day, not even every year, you just like look at like when you do something. I always like talk to myself in the mirror. I look and say like, I'm proud of you. There's no freaking way you could do this like last year like this. I managed this very well. So I always like give myself a good energy of saying, wow, like I can't believe how much I've grown the last 6 years, and it's so enjoyable. Like that's something that no one ever can take it away from me, regardless of the result of ApplyBoard, regardless of ApplyBoard become $2 trillion company or just stay $3 billion company. It doesn't matter. The knowledge that I'm consuming, no one can take it away from me, and that's the most enjoyable part.
True, very true. Which is another characteristic that's common with entrepreneurs, right? It's this concept of energy. Entrepreneurs have this insane bout of energy at any given time. In your world, where does that come from?
I don't know. I have it. I don't know. It's coming from anywhere. Yeah, like I can tell you, like almost every single day, maybe except Friday nights, where I don't set alarm for Saturday morning. Every single day I'm sleeping. I'm just so excited to wake up in the morning and continue. Except the Fridays because I just want to sleep in on Saturdays. It's just so enjoyable. I think it's like an exercise, right? When you start doing it, you get energy, you start seeing the result, then you can't give up. It's just so fun.
Yep.
Like think about it.
Yeah, you're right.
It's unbelievably rewarding to be an entrepreneur. Unbelievable.
Right.
You can build a good company. You can hire smart people. You can build whatever you think is right for the whole world. Like no one come to us and said, no, you should not build this. You should build this. Like I have like, where else I can get such a chance in my life to do whatever I want? Like I like, for example, I'm just like saying, if I think instead of a student should go for 4-year bachelor, you should go only do 1-year bachelor degree, or that I can find some school to go with our idea and start something brand new. How exciting is that?
Right.
You can shape the whole world. Like I have power to shape the world for good. So that's where the energy comes from. It's like, you just want to do it to see if it works or not, you know?
Yeah, it is indeed like a dopamine hit. So for all the lows that entrepreneurship puts you through, the high is so worth it. So worth it.
So yeah, the lows are very low, right?
Oh yeah. Oh man,
lows are very low. Such a lonely
right?
job.
There's really nobody to talk to.
Because everyone expects the best from you all the time, right?
Yeah.
Even your friends sometimes forget that you are a same human being.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Hey,
that's very true. Yeah.
That's another benefit of me, Mehdi, and Masi, because I don't think in a history it was even a single day that all three of us were low. So I feel low, Mehdi and Masi don't feel low, or Mehdi feel low, Masi and I don't feel low. So we all always counterbalance each other. I think if you were solo founder, it would have been very hard, because if you feel low, then your whole, and the energy go to your executive, and executive go to the leadership, and leadership go to the whole company, right? So you don't want to have a low. Exactly. Yeah. It's a very long, such a hard job. Like constantly you have to say no to everything. Like think about it. Like I got married, right? 2 years ago. So now I decided to go with family and everything. So constantly you have to say, oh, do I want to finish this, for example, a strategy thing, or I want to join that party that family is there. You always have to say no, How many birthdays I missed, how many anniversaries, how many dinners, how many games, how many times I got a best ticket of Raptors and I said no to, how many lawyers and everything, and I said, okay, come, you have a best seat of the stadium, come watch it, and I said, no, I want to just sit down and do these other jobs. It's a hard job. You constantly have to sacrifice.
Exactly.
It's not for example, you do, and I think I'm so lucky that I didn't go for money, because I think if you just chase money, when you get it, then you want to spend it, and it becomes very distraction to the company.
True.
And because I went for the problem, then you get money, then it doesn't make you distracted, because you're constantly going for the problem, for now a bigger challenge. It's a lonely job.
It is, at least from my experience, the whole concept of work-life balance for an entrepreneur, I don't think it exists. I just don't see how you can pull it off. I want to field a question from the audience. So a question that Michelle had was, how has your experience as a newcomer or immigrant shaped your leadership and company culture? For example, by removing barriers that immigrants face being hired.
Yeah, at ApplyBoard, we never had any of this, because the first 3 people are immigrant. So we never had where you're from, do you have a Canadian experience? We never looked at those things. We always hired by potential of people. So right now in our company, I think we are 60% minorities. So it's that concept doesn't even exist in our company from day one, or different religion, or different your gender, your belief, your country from, your accent. These things we never worked, oh, let's work on our diversity and inclusion, because it's just is us. It's for example, it's you, for example, my hair is curly. I don't have to work with a gel to make it curly. No, it's just curly. So our company, the diversity and inclusion is in DNA. We don't have to do a lot of work to make it welcomed for immigrants. It's just, that's the way that it is,
Yeah, I used to have a boss who said, if you ever want to consciously work on embracing diversity, the first and last thing you can do is hire for meritocracy, and it will reflect itself, which is pretty much exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. So for example, me and my brothers, we didn't have that much experience here. So how can I not hire immigrants? Because you don't have a Canadian experience. That's we didn't have Canadian experience. So people are people. And also again, when you believe that you belong to the whole planet Earth, and these countries and stuff is just limitations. I say these are the barriers and limitations in the mind of people. I'm already past that stage. Humans are humans. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter even if I understand your language or not. I think I still can work with you.
Nice.
I raised capital even from investors that we had a translator in between us.
Yeah.
We couldn't even speak directly. How awesome is that?
Yeah, which is a great segue into what I wanted to ask you about, right? Investments. What's your, I mean, obviously you've done a spectacular job of raising capital for the right reasons. What's that journey been like? My guess is your hit ratio in the early days must have been, I don't know, 1 to 40 or 30 or something.
Yeah, similar. Yeah. I think the first 200 investors, I got 5 yeses, 195 no.
How'd you deal with it? How'd you deal with the no's?
Nothing. You just cry it up and you move to the next one.
But the learnings.
Like that's 200.
Right.
Same as like the other 200 things on a monthly basis, you have to deal with it and you don't like it. It's like an outcome that you didn't plan for it, right? Especially for someone like me, I'm so positive about everything. By nature, from first minute, I say, yeah, it's gonna work out. Then it doesn't work out.
Right.
Then you just like, you know what? Whatever. You learn from it.
Right.
This is what I learned. It wasn't the first 200 investors' fault that they didn't give me money. It was my fault. I didn't know how to pitch ApplyBoard so I can get them money from them. If with the knowledge of today, but with the traction of the time, I go back and I pitch to investors, I'm pretty sure out of that 200 people, more than half of them invest in ApplyBoard.
Yep.
So it wasn't that those investors were dumb or they didn't get it. No, it was me didn't know how to pitch ApplyBoard. I needed to hear those no's to reflect back and learn to become a better entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's great perspective for the young entrepreneurs listening in. I didn't realize we've spent 55 minutes.
You know, Jay, like when I pitch to investors, investors, these are like very smart people, like almost across the board. Those are very smart people. I look at them like a free advisors. So I pitch to them and then like, okay, it's like they work for free. They tell you what they don't like, they like. And a lot of the things that they don't like, they have a basis on it. Then you can go. Just imagine if you want to gain that information internally, you have to hire like the best people, expensive people to come do those analysis for you. Investors do it for you for free. So I never mind after a while that I learned that, wait a minute, these guys are analyze ApplyBoard, the market, they do the research, they tell you the TAM, they tell you competing product, they tell you your good things, your strengths, your weaknesses for free. Yeah, of course I'm signing up. Here, come, I pitch to you. But can you just like share the result at the end of it with me? No problem.
Right. Oh, that's tremendous perspective.
Even a single time an investor said no to me and I didn't reflect back.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great takeaway that oozes optimism. No, well put, really well put.
Yeah.
Could I ask one question?
Yeah, go for it, Bob.
Thanks, Jay, and thanks, Martin and Jay, for sharing the great insights today. Martin, we were honored to have you host our May 20 roundtable shortly after ApplyBoard reached unicorn status last year, and congratulations on the ongoing great success. With the insights you from growing from an AC startup to a unicorn, and with Jay and Chris Salveson as new CEOs for the AC and Communitech, and Chris's background as founder of C100, what could our CEO peer-to-peer community of 500 CEOs, founders, and scale-up ecosystem executives and 75 CEO peer-to-peer roundtables do going forward to work better to connect in the 200,000 University of Waterloo alumni and the 3 million Canadian expats, Planet Canada, in positions of authority around the world? We appreciate the opportunity to work with some of your executives on the Tech Talent Welcome Council, but anything specifically in terms of connecting up the scale up executives and anything that we might do from our efforts.
Yeah, like first of all, thank you so much for all the job that so far you and other people done for ApplyBoard. Like we from day one we received tremendous positive energy and help from Velocity, from AC JumpStart, from community, from the city, from even Mars that we are not part of it. Like it's unbelievable how much everyone wants you to succeed. And thank you so much for that. I think just like what you guys do in terms of like raising the voice and giving, especially in Canada, there are not that much of belief that you can build a multinational big companies. And this is like more, I think just like working on that, that's just, I think the biggest help that can help the sector. I don't think like necessarily I'm looking for a help that you only help ApplyBoard. I'm more like looking to say like, how can we help the whole sector? People understand that, for example, like one of the biggest challenges that we have in Canada versus US is like people here, for example, still concept of like a stock option and stuff is a little foreign for them. And they only look at like, just like tell us, for example, so these are the things that I think the community can help more so people can understand it that, hey, look at Shopify when they become successful. This was the outcome. So we can learn, or like, for example, like landlord, I think is good that they know, hey, when a company go to the super mode, they cannot sign a 10-year lease. Like, how can I like say I'm 70 people, I'm renting a place for 150 people and I want it for 10 years. It's impossible. Like it doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Bob. And thanks, Martin, for accommodating that. In the 30 seconds that we have left, are you open to the idea of a 3-question rapid fire, yes or no?
Sure, go for it.
Okay, awesome. First one, people first or process first?
Customers first.
Oh, nicely done. Vision forward-looking or mission how to get there?
Mission.
Nice.
Mission and why.
Oh, mission and why, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
well done. And lastly, for ApplyBoard, IPO or M&A?
IPO.
Nice. Hey, we're up against time, but thanks a lot, Martin. That was a lot of fun. I hope our folks watching in and listening in also had a lot of fun. We wish you and the team all the very, very best. And let's hope we can do wonders for the region and for the planet as a whole. Thank you so much.
For sure. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone. Cheers.